Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here with ScrapbookPal. Thank you for coming back to our channel for a new card making video. Today I'm going to be playing with some Catherine Pooler stamps. They are so cute. It's called Dipped and Sprinkled. I was so excited to play with this set. I love food stamps. I love food dyes. I love Halloween. I love fall. So this I knew was just going to be so much fun to play with. There's really so much you can do with these stamps and dies. There is the Goblin Grins that you can use and stamp on there and give them little faces, but you could use those faces for so many things. There's also dies to cut them out, but the dies work great to just cut them out and not have to cut out your stamped images. All right, let's go ahead and play with this. I'm going to stamp out a few different apples. Some are going to be like chocolate covered, some are going to be caramel. I'm going to use Catherine Pooler inks because they are amazing for solid stamping. This is the most that I've used the inks before, and I'm just going to say one word: wow. They're good. So I have some, I think this one is Sandcastle to stamp the little sticks, and then I've got icing on the cake, which is going to be my chocolate layer. This is dark brown, so we're going to call this one dark chocolate. And then there's another layer for stamping the chocolate that has like little bits missing. We're going to do that one in a minute. There's also two different stamps that will go at the top of those dips. It's like I'm using right here in red because the wave is different on each of them. Also, the Catherine Pooler inks, you should know, are going to stain your stamps, but we don't have to be sad about it. It just means these stamps are used and they're well loved. It's okay. All right, so here's that other like dip I was talking about. It has like the little opening at the bottom. That's like you dipped it a second time in nuts, and there is a stamp to fill that in. And you might think this is super nervous to line all these things up, but everything's clear. And I did a few practice apples before I started to like make the ones I was really going to use, because it's just paper, it's just ink. I'm going to just play and see how I do, right? All right, so then there's the second apple piece that you would stamp at the top. And also I was thinking you could stamp that solid, what looks like drizzle, to be the apple, and have the smaller apple part be the drizzle. Like maybe you just poured on a little bit of chocolate. I don't know. It might not translate as well, but it's an idea. Okay, so now I am going to do caramel. I don't have a good caramel color, so I thought I'm going to play around. I'm going to try and make like a little mix here and see if I can get a caramel color. So I started out with Tiara, and then I'm bringing in that Sandcastle color. I'm going to stamp over the top of it, and I was not happy. So I kind of messed around with it some more, and the perfect combination with the Catherine Pooler inks that I have happened to be adding some orange. So I did a couple layers. I tried stamping it off and then re-stamping it, but the trick was to then add a layer of this orange twist over the top, and that gave me the color that I felt was caramel enough. And so I went ahead and did that. But I guess when I was buying the inks to make this project, I guess I totally forgot about caramel. I don't know how. There's like a stamp in here that says caramel makes everything better, which I was so excited about. It's so cute. So sometimes you just have to be resourceful and like use what you have and really make it work. And I'm really happy that I did, because I love the caramel apple. Yeah, all right, so then we'll add a little apple at the top there. I was playing around with the different greens that I had. I really find if you want a lighter shade, stamping the ink off on a scratch piece of paper and then stamping it on the paper that you're using works great to get a little bit lighter shade. All right, there's dies to cut out all the things. So you can see you can just cut out the drizzle and put it on your apple, give it a little 3D effect. You can die cut out the whole finished thing. Lots of choices. There's also some sprinkles there. So I'm going to stamp my sprinkles, and this is that icing on the cake ink, and add that to the top of the apple or the bottom. I was just playing around. You really can customize these, which is so fun. There's a die to die cut out some drizzle, which I thought was really cool to have it just die cut out. It gives it that really nice 3D effect, but there's also a stamp for that. So you can stamp that right on the apple as well. And what's better than caramel, but chocolate and caramel, right? Yes. All right, so those are so much fun, and we're just going to make them like a hair cuter by adding a bow. There is a 3-step stamping process here for the bow, but really you could kind of do any of the steps by themselves. This is the most solid bow that's going to fit inside that outline, and I'm going to use a really light pink. I think this is like bubblegum, and then party dress. No, I think it was cotton candy. Yeah. And then that second layer, or the third layer actually, is like stripes. It adds stripes to the bow, and there I just did a bunch in different colors, and then I can die cut those out with the coordinating die and have bows for the top of all of my things. It is so cute. There is another stamp in the set that does an apple slice. So I stamped that out 6 times, and then I'm going to fill it in with the solid stamps. So for the white part of the apple, I'm taking my Wintergreen, stamping that off, and you can barely see any color. I'm going to do that twice, so it's just going to give it like a tint of green, and it's more noticeable like when you die cut everything out. It's kind of on its own, and I just think that's a little touch that makes it more realistic. Then I'll do the part that is like the skin of the apple, and I'm going to do that in this really dark green called Grass Skirt. It's pretty bright, so I did stamp it off, and then I was happy with that green color. That was a lot better. All right, so then there's also a dipped part of this, so you can do that with chocolate. You can do that with caramel. So I'm doing my 3 layers, sandcastle, and the orange twist, and the tiara. Here I thought maybe I could do it with just the sandcastle and the orange twist, and I'll stamp it off and it'll be great. No, I definitely needed that layer of the tiara ink. So that's what works for me, but I know that Catherine Pooler has like a color called ginger and gingerbread. Both of those would probably be really good for caramel, but you know, you make it work. All right, so then I also thought, oh, I'm going to try, here I am adding that tiara link ink on there, but I also thought I was going to try some yellow apples because one of my favorite apples is the Golden Delicious apples. They did not come out so good. They look like a banana apple. I'm not in love with it at all. So I don't end up using those. I actually will just use the green ones and the red ones, which I am making now. And I used my lightest yellow there to do, I think it's buttercream, to stamp off and do the flesh part of the apple. Worked out really good. And then this is Rockin' Red for the skin. And then these will be chocolate dipped, so icing on the cake. I'm going to stamp it off and just repeat stamp it onto that first one to kind of give it a little bit less intense of a color. You can see the difference here, and yeah, it worked out fine. Okay, so there is a die to die cut this out. It's pretty much just like a half circle, and so then you can have these little apple slices to go with your whole apples. It's a really cute thing, and you can also fit sprinkles onto the dipped part. You can stamp those right on as well. All right, so there's the little die. It's just like a half circle, and then we have all the pieces. You can make really cute cards with these, add to your scrapbook pages or a little gift bag or something. All right, so here is my die cut version of the apple, where you could partially die cut out the stick, add it all together. But when I added all the things together, I realized it would be better to have the stick color be the solid part and build everything else up on it, and then just cut away the stick from the apple. So I did that with kind of a curved cut, and then added my caramel. So you can use this die set standalone and make cute little tiny miniature carameled apples. So let's do the same thing with the red, and then they'll be friends and we'll have 2. And I think it's darling, just die cut like that. And then you can add the drizzle to it. Super cute. Also, the bow works great just die cut out. You wouldn't have to stamp that either. All right, then I thought, let me try the apple slice. I'm just going to cut a little piece of this to be the skin. I will say my first attempt at cutting this is not amazing. but I used it anyway to give you the idea, and I might actually in real life would try that again. But you can see here the idea of how that looks, and it's not horrible, right? All right, so there is the dipped and sprinkled in a nutshell, or it's a really big shell. I did all the things I could think of with it. And then I'm going to add the faces. Look at those cute little faces. You can stamp these on. Again, the die set is complete that you could just die cut out the faces and put them on. And so feel free to do whatever works best, or a mix and match of both. They're really fun faces. Also in this set, they have the word boo, they have trick or treat, they have stars, and a spider. So we're going to play with a little bit of those as well, and make a card. But I had to use that sentiment that says caramel makes everything better. So I'm stamping that onto a piece of pattern paper. This is a Lawn Fawn pattern paper, and I decided I would bring in some ink to go around the edge, and the best ink that matched happened to also be Lawn Fawn. This is Sugar Plum ink. I'm also going to take that same ink and splatter on here and just do some it's really subtle splatter because it's tone on tone, but it's going to just give a little bit of character to the paper. I will glue all the things together now, the bows onto the stems, and then I need to kind of arrange all my pieces, how I want them to go on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and figure that out, and then I can adhere everything together. And I kind of have a special tool from the kitchen that I'm going to bring in that helps you. Probably know this tip if you've been card making for a while, but it is some cling wrap. This is really nice to lay on there. This is the kind that's a little bit sticky you can use, and so I just pick that up. The press and seal works amazing for doing that. I added foam squares to the back and stuck it back down. All right, now I want to have my spider, but I think the spider die is made to just die cut out a spider. I wanted to die cut out my stamped spider, and because the legs are solid on the die, you can't see through them, it makes it really hard to stamp and line up the die. So I am going to use this method. There's a sticky mat in my MISTI. I added my cardstock, then I added the die cut piece for the spider, and then you line up the spider in the opening of the die cut piece, and that lines up so you can stamp it right onto the die cut spider, if that makes sense. Hopefully watching it makes more sense than my words, but it's a really fun method to do if you have more solid dies. All right, I used the star die from this set all by itself, didn't use the stamps for this one, and I die cut out some purple glitter paper and black glitter paper, which I happen to already have some double-sided adhesive on the back of it, so that was really nice. But I love little stars. You can add little stars to so many things, so I thought that would be a really fun addition for this card. And that finishes it off. I just need to add it to a card base. This is an A2 size card base. It is 11 inches by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2 to make a top folding card. So there is my finished dipped and sprinkled card. I love this stamp set. I had so much fun playing with it. I've got more pieces to make more cards, which I am definitely going to do. Thank you so much for stopping by the Scrapbook Pal channel. You can find more of our inspiration on our YouTube channel, but also on Facebook and Instagram. We hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye.